All right, so now talking about, the situation in the country, one of the problems that Nigeria have is that we need food. And I guess if we had food in abundance, we would not be having some of this conversation. And one of the hurdles that we have to cross if we must have that abundant food is what the European Union has said. The EU has banned the use of several pesticides and heavily restricted others, and this is because of their potential health effect or environmental contamination, or where there's no enough data to be sure of the impact of those. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, most of those pesticides are still in use. That is why we would see that our exports, especially exports of agricultural produce, have not really bulged, and, hit the countries that we expect it to. So how do we deal with this FX issue, for instance, if there's no supply, if we're not exporting as much as we should? Or how do we even feed properly, with all of this? Well, let's delve right into that with someone who is a farmer. I think he's an executive farmer right now. Chief Executive Officer of Motunde Banjoko Farms, Tunde Banjoko. Thank you so much. I believe you're not an executive farmer. You're not just, I can't just call you a farmer like that.
A farmer is a farmer.
Okay, but did you see the NLC protests? Did you see anyone along your way here?
On my way here, I didn't see any.
Okay, all right. Well, we hope to get our reporters to give us updates on what's going on out there. But this issue of pesticide and exports of our agricultural produce, why is it that it's stated that a lot of our laws are outdated, we're not upgrading with what's going on in the world and all of that, and then it doesn't have any harm on us, I believe. We have thick skin.
It does. So, the two ways, why is it being banned or restricted from being taken out? Before you take out any of these products, it has to be tested. And most times, the EU and other countries observe that the level of pesticide residue in this product is above what can be tolerated. So that's why they are not accepting. And if you look back since far back 2015, some of these products have been banned. So it's not something that started yesterday. We should have paid attention to it a long time ago.
Why are we not?
So
we're not having conversations around that.
It's just because of our attitude. So I always say it's an attitude thing, because when you look at something has been banned since 2015, we've lost several billions of dollars in exports of product we should have exported and got earnings into the country. But because we are not paying attention to it, rather we are increasing our own import into the country. So that's one major thing that we should have paid attention to it. The regulatory bodies too should have been more aware and alert to this thing. And, also speaking to what you just said, not that we are that strong. We are not that strong, even as human, because you look at the spike in cancer cases, liver cases, kidney cases in Nigeria. And we've also observed recently, some people just tell you, they are diagnosing me, but they've not really said this is what is wrong with me. People have been in and out of the hospital, clinic, test centers, and all that. So it's affecting us. And I think sometimes some of the reports, because they don't go out, in 2020, about 270 people died in Benue State due to poisoning of pesticide in a river. But you look at that number, 270 people, and it's like it's making no sense to anybody, as if 270 goats died, or 270 sheep died, 270 human beings in a community. So it's because we are not paying attention to these things and the value we place on human lives.
So what do we do now? I know the ministerial screening is going on. I've not been able to pinpoint who will be our Minister of Agriculture.
We have an idea.
Because this would directly go to their desk. But even before they come, for farmers, can't we do it on a private sector level?
No, what we can do really, it's from two perspectives. One, there are regulatory bodies that are sat with this responsibility. People like NAFDAC, Nigerian Quarantine Service. They can look into these things, and those products that have been banned by the countries producing and exporting them should be banned in Nigeria too. These are not things you start having conversations around. Some countries have done it. Tunisia, Mexico, Palestine, Brazil, that if you are producing a product that you have banned in your country, you can't export it to me. If you have restricted it in your country,
why should other people use it?
Why should other people use it? So those are some of the conversations.
This is one of the reasons why we have Nigeria as a dumping ground.
It's really a dumping ground.
Wow,
and you know, when we look at the data, about 50% of the products that we still allow in our country have been banned by those producing them and exporting them. So the question should be, why are they still on our list of our approved imports? So that's where I think it's more of the...
Is it that people smuggle it in?
No, they come into the port, largely through the port, because they are still approved. So we should now be talking of, as NAFDAC updated their list of approved products, are the regulatory bodies working together to ensure that anything that has been approved or stepped down by the countries producing them should not be brought into the country. So those are some of the areas. And I think Nigeria should also start looking at other alternatives, because there are alternatives to these things. You know,
but as a farmer, assuming we have not gotten the action that we need, you know, from the public sector, from the regulators and as a farmer, is it possible? We do have a lot of farming or farmers association, you know. Is it possible to get those to now be conscious of this, of the health, of the exports that we need, and, you know, to try to run away from some of these banned pesticides?
Yes, there are things we can do, like what we are doing right now. But there's limitation to what an individual farmer or company can do. You can educate, but can I go all through the 30 states of Nigeria gathering the farmers on whose resources? And to what end would I be able to do that? So it's just, it's really in different folds. One, the government will have to engage more extension officers to go from one community to another, to enlighten people on the danger, on the misuse and abuse of some of these pesticides, because they are not totally wrong, but there's misuse. And we also observe that some are also expired. That is some of the issues. And when you use expired product, the implication is, if you had planned to use one bottle to cover less than 1 hectare, and after 2-3 weeks, you are still seeing the same issue on your farm or in your store, because they are used in both ways, both on the farm and in the store for preservatives. So when you now use an expired product and you are still seeing the effect, the temptation most times, you go and buy more. So say, okay, I bought 1, maybe I should have bought 4. So that's where some of those issues arises from. Now you have to use more. And then in trying to combat one issue, you are creating more issues. So if we can have more sensitization, the government engaging more extension workers, and then people should also know the alternatives. There are biological alternatives. For example, if you're a vegetable farmer, you can start planting scented leaves.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Mosunde. I learned one of our correspondents in Abuja, Dele Omoyeni, is ready now to give us live feed and reports from the meeting or from the protest. Hi, Dele, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed, I can.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was expecting to hear some drums. I know normally when Labour is protesting, we hear the music that goes along with the march past. How has it been looking since morning you've been out?
Okay, well, the protest started at the Unity Fountain earlier today, and the members of the NLC and the TUC and their affiliated unions gathered at the Unity Fountain in their numbers. Of course, the leadership of those unions were also there at the Unity Fountain. But right now, the procession has started, and we're right now in front of the Federal Ministry of Justice. You can see behind me, there's a crowd gathered here of protesters here, and the leadership of the unions are addressing these people. Now, what you have is a heavy presence of security agencies. Literally all the security agencies in this country are present here. You have the DSS, you have the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Federal Road Safety Corps. They're all here to ensure that there's law and order, and they're actually doing that as well. But one thing I can tell you is, that they were supposed to march to the National Assembly, but right now they're still in front of the Ministry of Justice. We're trying to find out if it's the security agencies that are stopping them from going to the National Assembly, which is where the three-arm zone is. Of course, right behind the National Assembly is the Aso Rock Villa. So, of course, we're trying to find out if security agencies are the ones that are saying they should not go further, or it's Labour that is saying they want to stop here right now.
It's interesting you said all the security agents are represented, immigration and all of that. And of course, we remember that the federal government had said that this protest is illegal and all of that. But it's peaceful so far, and we hope there won't be any clash. Does it seem like there's a friction, between this much security agencies and the labor unions?
Okay, so interestingly, the little skirmish that would probably had happened earlier today was not between security agencies and labor. It was actually between two sister security organizations. And of course, that was bound to happen because there were lots of them here. And so, of course, every one of them was jostling to be the one that would take the lead in terms of organizing the security. So it wasn't between labor and the security agencies. It was amongst the security agencies. But of course, security is heavy. Like I said, we don't know yet if it's the security agencies that are saying they can't go further to the National Assembly, which was initially where their destination was. Because when the General Secretary of the NLC addressed the gathering at the Unity Fountain in the morning, he said they are going to the National Assembly to meet their representatives and their senators to press home their demands of better living conditions for Nigerian workers.
Yeah, so before you get that answer, if they're still going to go, have you had a time to speak with any of them to find out what exactly they want, how long this protest will take place, what do they want to see to get off the streets?
Okay, so the leadership of the labor union, when they were talking to journalists this morning, said, well, today is the start. They don't know how long it will take, but today is happening nationwide, across the country. Also, it's interesting to note that as we speak right now, most of the leaders of the trade unions, all the affiliated unions are here. And what they're saying is the president removed the subsidy on fuel, and it drove the prices of goods and services to the roof. And yet, their living wages or their minimum wage are down there, and it has disrupted the standard of living of the Nigerian worker. And it's that simple. They're saying, even beyond palliatives, what should the government do to alleviate the sufferings of Nigerians? And that's why they're staging this protest. So it's not just about talking about what the government has done or what the government has not done. Palliatives are good, but moving forward, how does government intend to ensure that the masses of Nigerians do not continue to suffer and groan under the heavy prices or the high prices of goods and services?
All right, Dele, thank you so much for giving us that update from the streets or the roads in Abuja there. I know that subsequently different broadcasts you'll be up also.
Thank you, Ini.
So we also like to bring you visuals from Lagos. We have our reporter there, but I believe not ready to come up yet. This visual you're looking at is in Lagos. Here we have, of course, the labor unions also protesting and walking. And this is Alausa in Ikeja. We know that's the seat of power back here in Lagos. So maybe they're going to the governor's office. We will give you that information much later. But they've taken over the street there in Alausa area, the Secretariat area in Ikeja. I believe the message will be the same. The labor unions are asking for a better living condition in the midst of the subsidy removal and, of course, the consequences in the economy. It's a growing story right there, and we'll stay on that right here on Channels Television all through the day. Lagos, Abuja, not just those two, everywhere in the state, because it's a nationwide protest according to the labor unions. We still have with us here talking about food and how we can keep that food security on, the Chief Executive Officer of Omotunde Banjoko Farms. I mean, you see what's going on there? It's everybody's business.
We are all concerned. That's the truth. We are all concerned. Yesterday, if I may give that in a minute, I was fueling my car to go to the farm, and I bought, I think, is it 25 or 30,000 naira? And, you can just shake your head.
Did that fill your car tank?
At least it would take me to a very comfortable stage. And normally, I would have bought 8,000 naira some months back. with 8,000, I'll confidently drive. And you know, now consciously somehow, you are driving and your eyes is on the gauge. Somehow. Because, and then I was jokingly sharing the amount I spend on fuel these days. I mean,
yeah,
getting close to 400-500K.
The street, the road, when I was coming this morning, the road was empty. You know, I was like, is there a public holiday any year off or something? Because, I mean, a lot of people just, if I don't have to go out, I will not go out. Yeah, because you still have to buy food. You still have to think of the children and school fees and, you know, and all of that. And it's still the same purchasing power.
And it has ripple effect on everything. So that's
Obviously.
why we are all concerned.
We are all concerned, and we hope that the government... So just before we let you go, because I must tell you, they have taken part of your time. But this issue of pesticide, what are the low-hanging fruit? What can we do?
The low-hanging fruit, one, we need to step up our regulations. The regulatory bodies need to now start working together and update their lists and follow the steps of other nations that have done the same. It's not, there's no big deal. It can be done within the next few weeks because the life of everyone is important and our environment also needs to be preserved. And then also now looking at the business aspect of it, that now we need to also do that so that we can start exporting back. We are losing billions of dollars. And
yet we are looking for dollars because that is why our Naira
keeps exporting, importing when we have things that can be exported to these nations. They need them, but they are concerned about their own health. And that's why they are rejecting us. And secondly, for me, we don't produce these things locally. So, and it can be produced from plants, from animals, from minerals. So that also talks about opportunity for those who are interested in that sector to do a bit of research, set up factories locally, because it's been proven that the ones you made, not the synthetic ones, have less effect on the environment and on human. And so why are we not thinking in that direction?
And we do have a lot of research, both government and non-government.
So we should, and then for those who are active farmers, let's start using biological methods, planting well-scented leaves to ward off pests. I think those are some of the long-hanging fruits.
All right, thank you so much. Chief Executive Officer of Omotunde Banjoko Farms, Mr. Tunde Banjoko, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ini, for having me.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, it will be Apex time. Do stay with us. It's Business Morning on Channels Television.